um, Hi, my name is Thivya Shini. Um, I'm an artist, and I that's what I do, and that's what I always wanted to do for so long. And I'm I've been so like just based on my life experiences, I wasn't into art first. I just went through certain experiences that made me really um conscious. I just love conscious of like the human emotions, how we function, um, you know, this emotions and state of beings and mental health and all that. It started there, mental health and trauma and everything. That was me. And then I was in like a lot of pain, I would say. And then I think most of us, we, during those times when we feel like really like low or like in pain, we connect to like art in some way. But for me, it was like music and stuff. And I just found it so fascinating that these people were like creating these things that just hit me and like made me feel seen in a time where I just felt so alone and just all the pain and everything. But the way art, there's so many forms, like even just talking, listening to your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
watching your YouTube videos, hello,
Yeah.
um it's, you feel like those people and you feel like, oh shit, they're with me, you know
Wow, yeah.
that that's the feeling I got. To me, that was art, and I was like, I want to do that, because as much as I've seen and as there's so many people I love, I feel like obviously there's no one that has your exact life experiences. And I was like, whoa, that would be cool, because based on just who I am, my background, every single thing, it matters, it matters
Mm-hmm.
to see someone that has the similar background age to you, because then you feel more seen and you feel more connected. It's just, that's, and that was the desire. And then I was like, okay, let's do this at 18 years old. And I'm like, oh, I don't know shit about this shit. I don't know shit about art. And I just went to art school. I didn't have to, I didn't want to, but somehow it led me there. But it was necessary for my journey, I guess. If not, I wouldn't be there. But
Mm-hmm.
that whole experience of being in art school, as someone that I just had the desire of like, oh, I want to do this. I love some people that do this, and I don't know anything. I haven't like drawn in like, I've never drawn. I've never like really explored anything, creating anything. I've consumed. I've not
Mm-hmm.
created anything, and it was, so I was put in this place where, oh, I went to this place. I wasn't put in it. I went to this place where everyone around me had some kind of experience already. Like they're there because they want to make a living out of it, and so probably need to get some papers, or they just wanna. That's their way of learning. But to me, I went with a pure intention of like, I want to learn how to do art,
Mm-hmm.
from scratch. I just wanted to learn, and that's where I learned that. Oh, the system is not really designed for you to learn. The education system is not
Yeah.
really designed for you to learn. It's the first thing that I would say, like when I went into art school, is that they they want you to be good already. They want. they're choosing their favorite students. They're choosing which one of the students are gonna make it. Which one of the students is the artist, that one person or just a few. And if you're not even close to that, they would, this is my personal experience, is first of all, they wouldn't even look at you, you wouldn't exist, which obviously it hurts a lot. And second is they would just say like, oh, you just don't have it, or they say
Yeah.
things that imply that it's either you have it or you don't have it. It's not something that you can learn. No, we can't give it to you. You're here to learn, like, oh, you
What
need
do you
to.
think? This is school or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And but I tried so hard, but I never admitted that I tried my hardest. I just this story just came to me. This memory just came to me actually last night, of like when um I was working on this project, one of these assignments. I was working so hard on it, but I just, first of all, I didn't have the necessary equipment that I needed because I didn't know which equipment I needed. I was so like literally brand new, zero, like nothing. And I would try so hard. I didn't have the necessary computer. It was computer graphics something. And then when we had to like present our assignment in front of the class, the lecturer just looked and she looked so disappointed and she was like, "Did you just do this last minute?" Or like, as if like I'm lazy and I didn't put any effort into it. And look at everyone else's, they put effort into it. Da, 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 da. You just like did this last night, you just like scrambled it through. And I was just like, oh yeah, because because and that hurts because it's like you don't want to admit that that's your best because your best is like not good enough. Oh shit, I'm not supposed to be here. Then fuck. And that, and no one is ever lazy. Like even if I did that last minute, it was because the amount of emotions you have to go through while creating. Oh my god, when you sit down, you say, oh, I have this thing that I want to create. You have it in your head, and you're like, oh shit, how the fuck do I do it? I have no idea. But it has to be this. It has to be what it looks like in my mind, because if not, then it's bad. Like this, it has to be that. And you have like a certain time frame. This is an assignment. You have certain time frame, and then you just need to like rush, and you need to learn whatever tools to make this come into here. You
Yeah.
need your hands, you need your tools, which is the earthly things, right? And like you can use your computer or your paintbrush or whatever, everything, just the way you move your hands, the way you being able to see what, okay, you have this thing in your head, but that's just very vague. You need to like, I would say like that's like everything on top. So now you want to materialize it, you need like the earthly things, and you're connecting it to earth. And so you would reference like real life things, and to see real life things and be really, really attentive of the shadow, the highlights, and the color, the different hues. All that takes time for you to even notice it. And it's just a lot. And on top of this, all of these comments, all of this, the people around you that's already doing good. And when you come from a system, which most of us come from a system of like comparison, and whatever you have in your past, whatever trauma you have in your past, plus this, it's going to hurt. It's heavy. It's heavy shit. But I think I just
That was that already. I'm like writing, like I wrote notes to be like I'm gonna like dig into that part.
Yeah.
Um, what's really, really like what really stood out to me right away was just how you're like, well, you had such a pure desire
Yeah.
to learn. It's like it's almost like you were like feeling that desire to be creative, and then because
Yeah.
of our like conditioning from we grew up, we're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I want to be creative. I must have to learn it from someone now, even though it was
Yeah.
like already such a natural, it's such a natural part of all of us. But like
Yeah.
just because of how we grow up, it's like, oh, okay, well then I must need to learn it so that I could, well, that was like the first thing I was like, oh, that's so, and then you get there and it's like, what, you came here to learn what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that disconnect, right? And then also just how art schools, it's what you said, it's like the people who were there, they were already good, and a lot of their intentions going into that space was to have a living, like make a living, like
Yeah.
make money
Yeah.
off it. So the
Yeah.
art school was not really a creativity school, it's more like how do, it's like it's like for profit, right? That's like most
Yeah.
of what I, this
Yeah.
is amazing because, so I haven't like revealed this to you, but the Conscious Club podcast this time around, it very much has a theme, and the theme is about like exploring the experiences of human beings on Earth as we go through this like evolutionary shift, or like
Yeah.
it's like huge like jump in
Mm.
our like evolutionary journey. And I mean, something that just comes up, like even with Garrett, like that was Garrett's episode last week was all about the financial system and what's happening with the financial and that collapsing. And so it's
Wow.
funny how we're also talking about that kind of a system, and it's like touching in on that kind of for profit
Yeah.
models that are
Yeah.
so, it's like I understand why things have to be for profit because obviously we
Yeah.
love money and we love having the freedom to do things and like you said, like materialize our visions into the world, and that needs money. But at some point people lost the plot, like people lost that spark that you so purely went into art school with,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they lost it. It's like for so many people it's not, it just doesn't exist, and they don't know
Yeah.
like what they just wake up in the system and everyone's like doing things, and maybe their parents told them to go to art school because, and they're like, they're not connected at all to the higher fields of creativity, which I really want you to share.
Yeah.
Well, first you can
Because
share like your response, and then but I really want you to touch on also like your perspective of that creative field and how it's like so mystical in
yeah.
itself.
Yeah.